Welcome back, guys. We're here after game number 1. Honestly, MVP, they got a very good lead, but then, unfortunately, a couple of mistakes, especially down on the bottom side and around this dragon, just got them way too far behind. BDD was unbelievably strong on the Zoe, and, well, made it look easy for Kingzone, especially against a kind of crippled MVP right now.
Peanut did his best to pull off the no damage in a victory Nocturne game. We'll wait and see what his number was. I'm sure people will laugh at it, however big it is. The numbers from Khan and BDD were extremely large this game. As it went on, people just kept getting one-shot by either the Camille or the Zoe.
Even Yondu almost getting one shot here in the backside, but then he makes the great escape on the wall, rides that to the victory and to save his life. But then Maha just backing in the middle of the lane against Nocturne and Tahm Kench. Not what you want to do.
I just love that Peanut missed the first dust from there.
Yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe he'll be subbed out for game 2.
It was a funny old game. You have to laugh, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll be sad about the ADD collapse lung that, of course, made this a bit of a different kind of series.
Varus is so strong right now. It's like crazy the burst damage he does. He wasn't even building lethality, by the way.
No.
So his Qs weren't supposed to be doing that much. He just had really good farm, and the opposite side was just a little bit too squishy, and he was just chunking people. Just very low key. You know, he's not gonna win the MVP or anything like that, but definitely something to look at as the Varus priority definitely is slowly going up here in Korea.
A 0.1 to 0.15 total AD ratio buff is much bigger than it appears on paper. A bonus AD buff only works when you buy items. The total AD buff works from level 1, so at every point is Q doing more damage. Pretty happy news for the Varus. Whether you're maxing that Q or not, let's look at the damage numbers. You know, BDD did a lot of damage, and, well, Nocturne did out-damage the supports.
Only the supports, though. Even the Talia did more than the Nocturne. And, well, Ian also had a very awkward and low-level Galio game. I'd say picking the Galio and then BDD just saying, okay, I'll pick the Zoe into it anyway. I don't really care. And, well, you can see that is part of the reason why kind of made Galio very ineffective in this game.
Good early moments for MVP, though. They got the first 2 kills. They were able to take over the map, but the moment that we saw that Maha was building only for team fights, you knew that if the team fights didn't keep working, eventually the game would reach a tipping point. It did quite early. Let's see who the MVP for Kingzone is. It's the man whose guns are maybe not big enough for this pose, but he certainly is a big-time carry. MVP for BDD, 3rd of the season. And remember, right now, 500 points behind the leaders. It's unlikely, but if he was to win the regular season MVP, he would be the first player ever to win 3 seasons in a row.
Would be insane. It's not looking likely, though, as there are many other fantastic players up at the top of the MVP rankings. BDD most likely not going to win it this time, but he definitely won our hearts and the MVP for game 1.
Isn't it weird to think that he's at 551 career kills, and we're going to be talking about 1,000 kills for BDD in like a year's time? It won't even be that long, because he is a mid laner on a team that does more winning than losing. Got some information. Kingzone's making a change. It's not in the top lane. It's going to be in the jungle. Peanut, after his Nocturne game, they've decided, let's give Cuz a go.
Hey, I mean, why not? The Nocturne was just like Peanut was having a little bit of a vacation. He's like, well, it's Maha, so actually I'm just going to farm the entire game. I'll get the Rift Herald, and I'll have one good fight. That one fight where he was caught against the wall and dodged everything was good, but they're going to give Cuz another go.
I know you and I were talking about, what about giving Rascal a game? Because they'll probably need him when they hit the best of 5s. Rascal is a great option from the bench on the top lane role, but going to persist with Khan, maybe get Khan's confidence up with a couple of good games. Good game on the Camille in game number 1. This time he might even have counterpick on the red side in game number 2.
It almost looks like Yandu's taking it personally. He's kind of rubbing his arm, feeling a little bit awkward about that first game. But guys, we're ready for game number 2. Let's jump into pick and bans right away.
Hard to feel too disrespected when a team subs in a Royal Roader LCK champion jungler, because of course winning the LCK in his first ever competitive split in summer of 2017. But we're a year later, and Kingzone DragonX is not the dominant force that Longtrue Gaming was in summer, or the dominance force they were in spring season. They've already doubled their match losses and are close to doubling their game losses in summer season. Still 1-0 up in this game number 2. MVP on the blue side so far. Tom Kench and the Zoe, 2 champions that Kingzone won with in game number 1.
MVP is definitely the type of team to lose to a bunch of picks and then say, hell no, we're not going to give you Zoe or Tom Kent again. Even though they got 2 kills on the Tom Kents, they're still going to ban that away. And this time, Yondu not feeling very comfortable on the Taliyah. They will take it away. Go ahead and ban that on the blue side.
Wonder what that means for first pick here for MVP. It's the part that I'm trying to debate. Looking at win rates, could be something like the Sejuani, but it's not been so high priority recently. The Kindred was overlooked in game number 1 and passed over. The Swain is the big flex pick. That will be the final ban from Kingzone. I'm sure MVP would have snapped that up. Shen is probably the tier list strongest champion available, but doesn't always get the same level of respect. Was overlooked in game number 1.
It was definitely felt a little bit strange, but the Galio a little bit higher priority alongside the Taliyah, one of those, that combination. But the Kindred left available this time with the other top tier junglers taken away, definitely rises in priority. So we will see Yondu this time on the Kindred.
Recent matchup, the junglers in the LCK have been preferring into Kindred as the original matchup that many people thought Kindred was brought into, the Trundle matchup, because Kindred has the ability to disregard the pillar and the pillar slow, and yet we still see a lot of Trundle drafted into Kindred because Trundle can just play around the Kindred, try to take advantage of Kindred's sometimes predictable pathing. The predictability is that Azaya will be paired with the Rakan, but this is a very early Rakan from Kingzone. Doesn't mean the funnel. We've seen very little funnel outside of Griffin losing with it earlier this week. The answer is no, and Kaz just says, how about a Xinjiao?
He definitely wants to be in the face of Yondu. He's got a big smile on his face now. He's like, now's my turn to have a good fight up against the kind of down and out MVP without their top laner. Gonna be curious to see how he does do on the Xinjiao. You don't see it all too often, even though it was one of these very, especially once the jungle changes came in, because he was so strong at fighting at level 2 and in the river. You saw a lot of priority on him, but he kind of fell to the wayside to some other junglers, but we see him here again.
It's because the pendulum always swings, Valdez. People realized you can play Sejuani and Trundle, play passively, and Xinjiao wasn't getting the big leads to justify his aggressive early game. Yeah. But then Kindred rolled through because she was able to slam the level 6 junglers and also jungle around them and get marks. But now, what works into Kindred is Camille. Camille jungle is a very popular choice to try to one rotation burst her, but also the Xinjiao for the fighting reason. So the pendulum always swings in the jungle. And speaking of pendulums, are we back to first round Oriannas?
There it is.
The answer is yes.
Yep, we, you know, it's kind of going around the rock, paper, scissors. You're talking about the pendulum. It swings to one side. You see so much Galio rising in priority. The Orianna getting some small buffs. And you say, well, how about bringing her back into the Galio, just letting her farm up and being a dominant force in the late game, especially alongside a bunch of other engaged champions on the Rakan specifically. Definitely a fantastic ball carrier for the side of Kingzone.
And Xinjiao's pretty good at that job as well. BDD tried the Orianna a couple of times in his Longzhu stint and also on Kingzone, and it hasn't worked. It's actually been one of the picks he's lost on pretty frequently. It's one of his best champions back in the CJ days in 2016. But after the latest buff, Orianna's seeing as a lot more play. She's more reliable, with 2 seconds taken off of her dissonance cooldown, means she gets more advantageous trades in lane and also more damage and utility in team fights. However, she can definitely be womboed down by the Galio Morgana that MVP have already drafted.
That couple was disagreeing on who to cheer for. The girlfriend for MVP, the boyfriend for Kingzone. Another fan wanted a 2-0 for Kingzone. And the same bans that we actually saw the first time around by Kingzone come out again here. Lucian and Heimerdinger are going to be taken away.
They're both targeted at Maha, who is top laner for this game, and he's played both of them recently, and both of them champions that work in the bot lane and as top laners. The Xayah Rakan wasn't banned by MVP. They preferred to ban away Camille and the GP, just to give Maha a fighting chance in the top lane, is really the only way you can look at that, rather than the standard ban onto the Xayah. Do notice that his undefeated in 2018 Jace is still available.
Yeah, it's very true, and the unfortunate reality of blue side and Kingzone playing the draft smartly is that now you have to have your substitute AD carry blind picking into Khan on the blue side. What do you pick here?
Ornn.
I mean, it's
Ornn.
just Ornn is the obvious pick, right? But is he good at that, right?
Whoa.
Does he even know how to play that pick?
Hello.
It's going to be Karma. All right, we'll see. If, I mean, we haven't seen this in a while. Top lane Karma is what we're expecting out of MVP.
I mean, it's a strong laner, and Ornn is a safe laner. Karma is a strong laner. Karma, if her flash is down and Xin Zhao shows up, is going to be powerful, and, well, Khan's a jerk.
I mean, why not be a jerk? If you think you're going to win the matchup, says, I don't care how safe the Karma is, nothing's safe against the Jace. And there it is, it's going to be locked in. Should be a fun one, at least, for Kingzone fans.
Yep, he sees a strong laner. His coach says, well, what can you lane against Karma? And he says Jace, and Jace locked in. Khan has not lost on Jace in the 2018 year. So far, last loss was on the Kesper Cup at the end of 2017. And you know, I don't know if he's going to be continuing with any further losses, because Kingzone have a very strong draft here, and if Cuz gets going, I think Kingzone can roll over MVP with a draft like this.
Definitely feels that way. We also saw what Bang was able to do on the Xayah yesterday. That was the stuff of nightmares for any team that allows the Xayah to go through. They deny. They ban out a couple of picks against Khan, and he's like, did you forget about my Jace? Really? Doesn't seem like those two bans were very effective, and they certainly allowed Prey to get his first choice in the bottom lane, too.
I think all you can do as MVP is try to provide as much coverage for Maha as possible. They've got him one of the most oppressive laners in any lane in the Karma. But you're always fighting a losing battle when you're drafting against Jace and against Khan in general. Let's see how some of the other parts do here, though. Good ball carriers, the Orianna, a pick that hasn't worked for BDD. So while one win streak will be extended probably for Khan on the Jace, getting a win for BDD on the Orianna will increase their confidence on a pick that I think will increasingly be coming into the meta in future weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely not a time to just throw out weird stuff or test new things. It's time to build confidence against a kind of down-and-out team here in MVP. Certainly agree with you on that one. I'm excited to see what Xin Zhao can do as well up against the Kindred. Has Cuz kind of brought this pick out as a counter to Kindred, and what exactly can he do in terms of his aggression in the jungle? Exciting stuff to see, especially for the Kingzone fans. Looks like the countdown has started. Ready to jump into Game 2 of Kingzone versus MVP.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Here we are, guys. Match 60, by the way. So we're just about 1/3 of the way done. Oh boy, that is not what you want to see. Maha's first empowered Q sails wide into the distance, and Motive misses as well.
Not ideal, but hopefully just a level 1 going askew, and then getting your eyes in will be the story there. Khan in the 2018 season is 10-0 on the Jace. We know, of course, it is his legendary pick in the top side. BDD trying to get that first win on the Orianna, and to explain it to our viewers joining in late, ADD is in hospital with a collapsed lung, diagnosed overnight, so Maha, the emergency sub, into the top side. He took a Heimerdinger ban and a Lucian ban because those are some bot laners he's been playing that could also work on the top side. And he went for the Karma blind pick because getting some lane priority when you have a Kindred is so important to give the Kindred somewhere to jungle through. Unfortunately, getting lane priority on Khan's Jace, a different proposition.
You'll notice also that Motive stays in the lineup. The only team that actually changed anything was Kingzone, swapping Peanut for Cuz. I was saying maybe bring in Max for the top
Yondu's
roll.
here.
Okay, they're going to look to get this to flash into the queue, but he hits the guy with cleanse. Bray's going to step on a trap, though, and first blood goes to him. He does not respect it. maybe not even seeing the trap, but certainly a mistake as he had his flash available.
That was really well played by the side of MVP. Yondu wants to scuttle. Will he find a level 2 Xin Zhao, though? On the back end, Xin Zhao thinks better. Maybe unsure if Yondu would find enough experience to hit level 3 from this. He will not, but he gets the mark. Nice little pickup there from Yondu. I really like the plan, and with the flash, someone was going to be at least slowed down. Ended up being Gorilla with the cleanse. Yondu, I don't know about this one, mate. Now, he's backing here because he wants to provide coverage to let them know if Xin Zhao is bot side or not. So this lets them know that Xin Zhao isn't looking for a lane gank, and that's just a bit of information there. It wasn't going to be a turret dive. That'd be insane.
Of course, definitely a strange jungle pathing, but when I suppose when the time calls for it, you got to do weird things. Is going to go ahead up towards the top side now. Isn't going to challenge too much as the top lane is being pushed in. Khan going to come down here and help out the Xin Zhao and say, hey, the blue's available. Let me ward and get some vision on the Kindred, looking to deny another mark on the top side too.
So Pilot comes into lane here, and this looks pretty standard at this moment. Motive had used a sweeper, and maybe the sweeper was suspicious in hindsight if you're Kingzone's duo lane. The flash to hit somebody ended up being the cleanse target, but the trap very well put down by Pilot. That was nerfed many moons ago to be a bit slower in arm time, but catches prey unawares. That time is a shorter. We're on patch 8.13, guys, so he got to lane very quickly. So a small CS lead, and the kill gold that, of course, can't be shopped yet for Pilot is not the biggest lead in hindsight for the side of MVP either.
Level 3 gank without the red buff, but it is going to go unseen. So maybe if they can get the leash down onto Khan. But look at Cuz, he's in the right position, and it looks like they kind of know about this. Look at a turn onto Khan, but here's Cuz, the flash on in, and look at the damage coming out. Unbelievable, he's gonna flash in two and get a double kill. And there is Khan on the Jace. You've all seen it before, but he's back.
Look at that man on your screen. He's the world's best Jace. He's on his best champion. Who was baiting who? Who watches the Watchman? The answer is Khan. The double kill, the start of no doubt a big game.
Awesome read, too, from the side of Kingzone. It just looked like they had that deep ward in the blue side jungle, and they said, well, he didn't go back and path into his jungle, so he must be top. Let's try to punish him for this.
And this is in no way lucky. This is all planned from the side of Kingzone. Khan says he's probably there. I'll face check it. You're in position, right? The answer was yes. Very, very nicely done by Kingzone.
That's exactly right. Knew what was up. Good game sense. They had the vision too.
We've seen both Smeb and Khan in recent days have great top laner sense. Smeb was about not being ganked by respecting Brush and understanding where the enemy jungle could be. This was him opting into something. Speaking of opting in,
doing a ton of damage here to Gorilla. Nearly got that second headshot off. Yondu is going to show himself on a ward once again. Xin Zhao is pathing down here as well. But it's going to provide a little bit of coverage for them to push on in. Khan with his magic shield is going to survive a little bit, but you saw that Maha was beginning to fight back a bit in the top side.
Not sure how he took such a bad trade after teleporting back to lane. But he's got a lot of items, as we can see, and the cloth armor can only do so much. Maha building extensively for lane, of course.
Yeah, top lane is not going to be fun after your opponent, Jace, just got 2 kills. Definitely solo queue feels for him. Trying to come in here and get the smite down, because is there with his own smite. And we've been talking a lot about the top lane. It is Khan's Jace after all, but it looks like another game where BDD is just going to say, I am the alpha in this lane. You get the hell away from here, as he's already 20 CS ahead at 6 minutes.
This is the cool part, right? Because this is something that's not to do about the substitute top laner. This is just BDD having his fun in the laning phase. Orianna has always been strong against melee champions, and Galio's wave clear requires him to get in there in auto to use his passive, and that's where you know Orianna will unload plenty of damage. Yondu's original plan of jungling around the Karma, of course, is in the toilet, so he's going to have to find different places to path in this game, and finding some latitude for the mid laner would be a nice place to start.
You know, he's heading around there. They're even having Motive head up towards this mid lane, maybe place a control ward down and open that avenue up for Yondu. if he does want to actually try to gank in the mid side. Ian still does have his flash available, so if they can lock him down here, looks like that is the idea. They at least want to get the flash away from BDD. Not going to fall for it, though, as he still had his cleanse, and they even get the flash and a motive.
Plenty of poise shown by BDD when he played this champion, the Orianna on CJ. I looked at this player, hyped from solo queue, Zed, YouTube highlight reels, and just players talking about how great he was in scrims, and said the poise he showed reminded me of FLICKR. This was 2 years ago in the height of FLICKR's fame. And of course, still a great player now to this day. BDD took a long time to finally show and come through on that original promise, but games like this, moments like that, the relentless aggression even in the face of 3 enemies is quickly becoming a show card of BDD.
You mentioned before the confidence building on the Orianna too. It's definitely a champion that you need to have a bit of confidence and just pressure in the mid lane if you want to play it correctly. And seems like certainly after winning really hard in game number 1 in the Zoe versus Galio matchup, looking to do it again in the mid lane in a different matchup. Once again against the Galio, but on the Orianna. Now 30 CS ahead is BDD at 8 minutes.
Impressive, you know, doesn't need too much explanation there. Very, very nicely done by BDD, even a bigger CS lead than the Karma, who, you know, in hindsight, probably should be able to farm whatever happens, is Karma. Karma took a lot of the nerfs around her shielding, of course, and I think her passive has also been level 1, and Mantra has been nerfed on this patch 8.13. Seen very little Karma in solo queue, or even in competitive play in recent times. Praying Gorilla, after going down, doing just fine. Same shops here. Second Caitlyn of the week. Deft played a game on it earlier. See for this Stormrazor as the build from Pilot, a bit of burst, but Caitlyn still follows the same play style of wanting to get bot lane turret down early and rotating through during her power trough, just focusing on turret autos. Going to be a lot harder against Xayah Rakan, a premium duo in their own right.
Yeah, at least they do have the Morgana to help against that, but look at the damage there. The electrocute comes down and the flash on in, and Maha even flashes on the backside. Just to add insult to injury, we'll let Khan be 3-0 now.
You knew it was coming. The moment that he got those 2 kills, you knew it was coming. Hard to shout about it, hard to put Caster Gusto in because of who he's facing in the top side. But Khan's Jace continues. The electrocute, a bit of a different choice, and BDD's farm lead also persists.
It's going to get pretty nasty up there in the top side. Might want to, if you have any children watching, maybe just put them to bed. This is not really appropriate at this point. As well, a level up and a huge item lead. Khan just says hello.
And he just surprises Maha by getting the Q damage, the To the Skies damage, onto the minion. He did not Q onto the Karma.
Yeah.
He Q'd onto the ranged minion near the Karma. And then, yes, flashing an auto attack was the unfortunate panic moment at the end by Maha. He goes to the Death Chamber. And now it's Youmuu's and another longsword on his way to, no doubt, the Duskblade of Drek'Kar.
Yeah, it's definitely a feel-good game here for Khan. He had a good game in the Camille in game number 1, and now, well, Maha has 0 pressure. Not like he had much before.
Maha may be the only player in League of Legends history, I'll hold the point as Morgana just dies,
yeah.
But Maha may be the only player in League of Legends history to get auto-filled into Khan's Jace in a pro game. That's actually what happened.
Feeling.
Literally what happened.
Here we go again. Maha looks like he might just die. The auto attack comes in. Khan decides, well, with no flash, I don't have to get too crazy. I'll just push him out of the lane.
Oh, dear. What is the analysis on this point of you're getting
none.
slammed auto-filled against Khan's Jace?
It's, yep, GG, no re, go next. I guess that those two kind of cancel them out, but Baha hoping for the no re. He says, please get me the hell out of this lane. I'm calling for it. I want Max in the next time, whoever they're facing.
Motive walked up. His sweeper only spots Xayah the moment that she's about to kill her. Goodbye, Morgana. Rest in peace. CS lead hasn't grown in the mid lane, so that's, of course, mostly because Ian now has enough points in Q to have the cooldown and the damage to kill the minions twice with 2 Qs. But that's about all you can talk about in that mid lane. Well, this is a sad game for the side of MVP. We knew at least one of the two games would be a sad game. This is that one.
Yeah, it's rough to make too many jokes about it, too, because poor old ADD in the hospital. Hopefully he does get better soon, because MVP really need it. As, I mean, it's hard for Maha. I'm sure it would have been hard for ADD, too. But at least he would have had a little bit better of luck. We wouldn't be seeing the Karma versus Jace in the top side, as ADD has so many other blind picks.
The worst part of it is, I'm sure if you're watching this in the hospital, if you are, of course, ADD, you probably feel guilty about something out of your control. That's so harsh to deal with as a young pro gamer. One of the best top laners in Korea. Whether you say about where he is in the top 10, he's at least in the top 10, right? So he's a good player in his own right. But unfortunately, his autofill top laner has lost the turret and doesn't have enough items as Karma to necessarily put the shields on the Caitlyn, who needs time herself. Cuz is going to take away the Rift Herald. Kindred doesn't have many marks, but Kindred's going to find Cuz.
He's going to get the red smite down here. Still does have his ultimate available, but he knocks him up, and the damage is too much before he can hit the ground. And ultimate, Yondu, unfortunately, is going to go down. Thankfully, Ian was there for the follow-up kill.
MVP on the board with a couple of kills and a Scuttle Crab. No more so far this game. Caitlyn Morgana considered the hard counter to the Zyra Khan lane in spring season, but after Moto's face check, you can see that even in bot lane, they don't have any priority. Khan's found another lane. He's bored up top.
He just decides, yeah, hello, BDD. Let's end the game fast. I'm pretty good at pushing on the Jace, and, well, the mid lane Galio versus Orianna has 0 armor. Can just chunk him down too, because why not?
And watch the replay of this play. Yondu was feeling it. He has, of course, the damage lead because he opts in, and plus his ultimate doesn't get any value because he's actually in 300 range of the Kindred the entire time. Ian picks up kills, so he gets some good news from it all. And a 1-for-1, not really the worst trade, given how far behind MVP already are.
Well, looks like we have a temporary lane swap as Maha is here to catch the wave in the mid side and then relegated up to the top side. He's like, please get me away from the Jace. I don't want to play against him anymore.
The R word is one we probably have to speak about because MVP, relegation, is something that, honestly, they're not as far clear of as they were 2 weeks ago, Valdez. 2 weeks ago, Jinair and BBQ had no match wins. Jinair have 3 and BBQ have 2. So when it comes to MVP's 4 match wins, which will persist after this game, it's looking really tricky for MVP to avoid a relegation battle, especially if this has to be their lineup going forward.
Khan, he owns the top side of the map. Even the blue buff is his, the Gromp is his. Everything else is his. This game is essentially Kingzone's. We're already here at 15 minutes, and, well, that's going to help their goal difference at 15-minute. Stat, as they're now 6,000 gold ahead at 15 minutes. Looking for more in the bot side. Kind of hard to play by play this one, guys. It's just it's a stomp. It's a rollover game, essentially.
At this point, it feels like a nature documentary where the big predator's trying to take down some cubs, sadly.
Well, Motive, you're giving it your all, but unfortunately, this audition not going to go too well. You might not be getting the part for the next game, as I wouldn't be surprised to see Max come in next time.
Won't be today, though. Kingzone looking to finish this one earlier. Earliest game, I believe, 22 minutes for the summer season, seeing if Kingzone can beat that. Fastest ever, I believe, was around 19:20 from memory in LCK history. I don't believe there's ever been an 18-minute game.
As we have some time, I'm just going to go ahead and see where we're at in terms of fastest game. In this split was 22 minutes, 43 seconds, and that was a Freak of Freaks versus the BBQ Olivers.
And if you're Kingzone, you need to do this. You need to face the mostly defenseless MVP, smash them, get your confidence back. BDD's laning phase, which has already been always a good thing. Being able to dunk on Ian, that will help his confidence. The big win, just continue to play aggressively. The only mercy you can show is ending it quickly. That's really all you can do if you're Kingzone. Gonna watch the replay here. They're so immeasurably far ahead. I mean, the numbers don't really do any justice.
Motive's alone, by the way.
He tries to make something happen because he knows teleport is up, but all the members of Kingzone are the apex predators this time, and they get the kill.
Well, that's definitely one to try to sweep under the rug here for MVP. Just trying to make something of a bad situation. The Baron's not even available at this point. Double Cloud Drake is going to be the way to go here for King's Zone.
Look at the item difference between the top laners. This should not be allowed.
I don't want to, Papa. Don't make me.
He has 3 serrated Dirk items, including the 3rd serrated Dirk, and Karma would really like a Rod of Ages.
It's a lot of Dirks.
What would be the betting market on the Rod of Ages reaching 10 stacks? I don't even know if they should take bets. It's that unlikely.
I mean, that's... King's Zone is going to have to feed at least, you know, for the next 15 minutes.
At least there are 2 things that are going to be fully stacked this game, and it's our tiers, of course, Valdez.
Yeah.
Tiers fully stacked. Shout out to ADD. We'd love you to come back soon. MVP also, of course, given their impeding relegation problems. King's Zone push forward. Can they finish before 20 is really the only drama left in this game.
Khan has a red buff now amongst his 3 Dirks that he carries around with him. And yeah, you can see the difference. He's nearing that flame horizon, now about 80 CS here, ahead at 18 minutes. And Maha just can't even go into the lane against him, even with the stopwatch. It just doesn't matter. There's no turret for the inhibitor either, so if Khan really just wanted to push into the bottom side at this point, he could.
We saw some interesting 1v5s from Khan on the Darius at Rift Rivals. I wonder what he could do here. He's almost doubling the gold of the Karma. He's 1,000 short of that.
Yeah. At this point, he's just respecting the Galio, but even then, I think if he didn't get knocked up by Galio, I think he could just 1v2 them.
I think he could probably 1v3 Morgana, Karma, and Galio.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
If Kindred was there, I'm sure he would lose.
No.
But that's
No, Maha, don't do it. Oh, he missed his shot blast.
Yeah.
Isn't going to matter, though. Actually, it will in terms of getting the knock up here. It forces Khan's flash. They're not going to follow up with Ian's flash, though, as well. Maybe he was even scared for his life.
We did see on screen Khan missing a shock blast. We don't see that too often, so little moment there where he makes a mistake on the Jace. Damage dealt numbers. Yep.
Ooh.
Let's see. 5,800, 6,700, 7,000. It's about, I guess, 11,000 damage altogether on the side of MVP, and Khan is at 9,000. So about 80% conservatively is Khan of MVP's entire damage.
It's not quadrupling the Karma, but it is more than tripling. So he's got that going for him.
20 minutes is about to come by, so it seems like this will not be the shortest game of all time in LCK history. That was pre-20. We've had about 2 games go pre-20 in the past. But if you're talking about stats like that, lets you know where this game currently lies. It is a 10,500 gold lead that was there a couple of minutes ago. It's still there now. Jace pushes down the bot side, maybe looking to get that kill onto Karma. He couldn't last time.
Yeah, he's sitting in the same brush, just trying to make it interesting. He does have the ward over the wall, and goodbye, half of Maha's health.
Frey walks up. Actually pretty hard to close the game right now for Kings. They have ranged auto attackers, but without the rapid fire cannon, Zion at the longest range. They'd like a Baron, so they'll take that instead.
This is the way to do it, obviously. Trying to beat the record at least for this split, and actually, no, they are going to back off as Khan is getting a little bit frisky. They just want the kill here. They're going to find Yondu. He does burn his Lamb's Respite to get out of that one. And perhaps now that they've zoned the jungler, maybe they will turn on to the Baron.
I actually like to play because it's good to show fundamentals. If you get spotted at Baron, you always turn away. They DPS out the enemy jungler, who has no flash and no life. They turn on to Baron. This is the time to take it. Khan is on duty trying to stop them from walking up, and this is the right time to take Baron. Don't build any bad habits in the victory here, King's Zone. Play standard, play normal, take the Baron.
Very clean here from King's Zone. 12,000 gold ahead for them now, as it's just a sad story for MVP. This was not the day to have your top laner have some medical issues, as King's Zone, even though they're having trouble recently, they're still a really strong team and were favored up against MVP. With ADD, it would have been a little bit more interesting, but Even so, this is kind of the result we were expecting. And now he's got Edge of Night, by the way.
Oh, and Mobies. For I am a roaming gank machine. Even scarier than Xin Zhao is this Jace, and he already knows that if he gets the first auto or the first to the skies, enemy champion explodes.
It's a sad series for Pilot, who, you know, he's had a fun one so far, but he sees Khan and he backs away. It doesn't matter how many items you have on your Caitlyn, which, by the way, he does have the Rapid Fire Cannon and the Infinity Edge built here at 22 minutes, so not half bad for Pilot right now.
1-0-0, same CS. Can't really argue with Pilot's game. Predictably, in MVP's losses, Pilot has been one of the better players. He continues to be this series, but will not be able to change anything about the result. Kingzone taking the easier objectives is right now closing the game, has thwarted them a bit. But around this Jace, I'm sure they'll find good news, and MVP already sending multiple members to try to help out Maha.
The wave clear on the side of MVP is actually fantastic. You look at Galio, Karma, Caitlyn, and even the Morgana will help out with that. So the game will push on. The Baron was absolutely necessary to actually push this one in. Pilot has his trap wall set up, but with the Baron, they are looking for their first inhibitor down here in the bottom side, and actually in the mid lane as well. We'll see if MVP actually put up a fight in this one.
We'll see. See who can actually be the conduit for the Galio. Probably has to be Morgana going for a zombie ult to set up the Galio positioning, but Kingzone have their flashes up, barring Khan. Looking for the two inhibitors, and speaking of Khan, he'd like an inhibitor turret of his own.
He's definitely pushing for that MVP as well. I think he definitely made a good case for it here. He's looking for the kill on Tamaha, but hey, he still has a stopwatch. So that's something he's got going. Gorilla is going to miss the engage. So they will not pick up the kill, but at least they will push it in. Motive getting extremely low on the backside. Cuz looking to go down here, is going to flash away, and BDD says, hello, Yondu. I'm back. Is going to die to the Galio, though. But either way, guys, it is a bit of a stomp here. It's exactly what we expected. The Super Minions are pushing in. They just want to get more kills on the backside. Looking for Pilot now. They want to take away that 1-0-0. They won't be able to, as the Nexus does go down in 24 minutes and a half, as Kingzone make quick work of a crippled MVP.
Very one-sided series by the side of Kingzone. We said the only thing we could take away is how does Kingzone's internal consistency look? How does Kingzone setups look? Because of course their opponents came in without a recognized top laner, and that meant that winning the match was pretty close to 0% for the side of MVP, and we have to say, Kingzone's setups looked better. Kingzone's communication seemed clear. Khan had some nice moments on the Jace. He extends that win streak to 11-0 in the 2018 season. Easy victory for the side of Kingzone, and for MVP, at least the ability to go home, call their friend, their top laner who is in the hospital with a collapsed lung, and hopefully confirm that he's on the mend, because they'll need him in the future, Valdez. There's still plenty of season to be played for MVP, and increasingly the chance they might need him for the relegation matches as well.
Really no mercy shown here from Kingzone, and that's the way it should be. Still competing. Maha, got a feel for him too. He was relegated to that substitute role, and they're like, well, I hope you're ready to play top lane against Khan. And he's like, I'm not, but I guess I have to do it anyway. And Karma against Jace on the top side is just, as you guys can see, especially with that early double kill going to the Jace, is just hell for him in the top side.
Well, there are many, many rough ways to die. You know, people always talk about the one that haunts their dreams, their nightmares. I think being auto-filled into Khan's Jace is definitely one of the ways to go. I would not recommend. Did his best, tried to be competitive. This was a beautiful macro moment from Kingzone. Khan face-checking on purpose because Cuz was there. Khan knew there was a very high likelihood that Kindred was there too. No big smiles from Khan. He knows he's doing what was expected. This is him walking up. Last auto attack comes in. Maha needed to proactively flash, flashed after the Jace, so he went down. And when we saw also bot laning straight up losing, without even the jungler being involved, you knew it was curtains early for the side of MVP.
I mean, you could definitely feel it even from early on in game number one. And, well, just not good highlights here for MVP. Good for Kingzone though, very clean for them. They win very early in a game against a composition that is good at holding off pushes, and they got another win under their belts.
I'd like to hear your thought on this before we get shown the MVP, but I think probably BDD for what he was able to achieve. It wasn't quite the highlight moment in the top lane, but it was a very nice destruction of the Galio on this Orianna. BDD does pick up his 9th career win on Orianna. He's 9-5 now in LCK play.
I mean, part of it is definitely the Orianna versus Galio matchup. I feel like he did really play it perfectly. If this was Khan against, you know, a regular top laner, I would definitely give it to Khan. There is the caveat of saying, hey, yeah, you dunked on Maha in the top lane, good for you, but I would still hand it over to Jace for Khan in the top side, especially just given how dominant he was in the top lane and how he affected the mid lane and just the game afterwards as well.
Both games with the same gold chart. Kingzone started to win and then closed out the game fairly early. 24 minutes 29, not our shortest game of the summer season, so it is not a statistic that MVP would want to avoid. We're actually changing up the interviews today, so a bit of a different setup here from what you guys are used to at Spo TV in the summer season. Some new interviewers as well, as Sunke and Kanada are discussing on the Korean side of the casting desk right now. Good win for Kingzone, but not one that we can redefine their season based on. That'll have to be their next opponent, as it sounds like the MVP is ready.
Let's see who it's going to be. It is going to be Khan in the top side. Definitely what you would expect, just given the way that the game went. Shout out to BDD and his dunking in the mid lane, but 900 points now given over to Khan in the MVP side. And he will be joining Suhyun and MC for our interview here over on the side. So I'll give it over to Jisun for the translation.
Thank you very much. This is Jisun with their interview translations, and today we have new interviewers, Suhyun and MC. And the main characters are Khan and BDD from Kingzone DragonX. Congratulations on the win. So it was a victory in a while. How do you feel? It's really happy to win the game, and so I want to make sure to win the upcoming matches for the second round robin. Starting from today, we're going to make sure to make it to the higher rank in LCK. So there are a lot of fans out here supporting you guys, and you guys finally stopped the consecutive losses. And you know, consecutive losses on the side of Kingzone is a very uncharacteristic factor, right? Well, I actually didn't know we were losing for consecutive games, and we were performing quite well during the practice games, so I just hope to maintain this performance till the rest of the season. So you guys were not that depressed, right? I think, yeah, we shouldn't get the negative mentality get going, so we just try best to stay really happy during the practices, and we're just focusing a lot to the rest of the games in the splits. BDD, how was today's game? We really had to win today's game, and all of the 5 players did their best, so I'm really happy. I agree. I think all the 5 players were performing at their best potential today. Moving on to the game 1, you guys did a lot of work, so we were really suffering a lot to pick just one MVP. Well, in the early games, I think MVP was kind of aggressive on the bot lane. I think Talia has to make a lot of leading points in the early games against Nocturne, so I think it was a great player from MVP's side, but it didn't really affect the game a lot, so we just tried to cheer up. Yeah, all the other laners were doing fine. we are actually winning, so we just try to stay positive.
아까도 말씀을 드렸는데 사실 전화위복이었잖아요, 장민철 해설. 안 계시는 줄 알았을 것 같아요. 전화위복처럼 정말 상체 쪽에
So
어마어마하게
yeah,
성장을 하면서
even though the bot laners were suffering a lot, I think the top laner and mid laner were performing great, and Zoe was super powerful.
강한 킹존의 상체의 모습을 볼 수 있었는데 BDD 선수에게 궁금한 점은 두 번 다
So my question for you is,
한 번은 조이, 한 번은
you
오리아나를
face
활용을 했습니다.
Galio with Zoe and Orianna,
굉장히 좋은 모습을
and you know Eon is really performing great on his Galio, but you were outperforming him in the laning phase. So is there any tips for playing against Galio?
팁이 있으면 좀 알려줄 수 있을까요?
팁이면은 그냥 원거리에
For
있는
tips?
근거리 챔프 상대할 때 미니언 안 맞는 게 중요한데 그냥 안
Just
맞으면서
when you're a long
피하고
range champ, you
맞추면은
just need to make sure that you just get attacked by the minions during the laning phase.
네. 안 맞으면 되죠, 사실. 안 맞으면 되고. 네. 자신의 손가락으로 조금 더 안 맞게 연습을
Well, that's a
저도
simple tip,
해봐야겠습니다.
but seems to be hard for us to kind of apply to our own ranked games.
분위기 전환이 되었던 거는 불용 앞에서의 한타가 아니었나라는
And actually, I think that you guys turned the game around after the team fight near the dragon.
조금 더 우위에 있는 상황이었는데 그 한타 이후에 완전히 좀 분위기가 뒤집힌 느낌이었거든요.
What kind of shackle went back and forth?
조이를 통해서 뭐 이즈리어를 잠깐 묶어준다든지. 네, 자 영상 보면서
So let's go through the highlights.
여기서부터 이제 뭔가가 좀 바뀌기 시작했던 것 같아요.
I think this was the moment that you got the
상대
game
피가
in
너무
your
없어서
hand.
저희가 들어오는 거 괜찮다고 그냥 쌈각 보자고 해서
Where all the opponents were really low in health, so I knew that we were going to win the team fight. I just told other players to just play safely and win the team fight.
없었다고 말씀을 해주셨잖아요.
네네.
그 피를 누가 깎았습니까? BDD 선수가
Well, they were low in health because of the poking from Zoe, right?
이즈리얼 딜 못하게 위쪽에서 마크 해주면서 한타 승리에 공헌했고.
So I think you contributed a lot to team fight. And also, Kwan, you were protecting your teammates very well.
그 당시의 상황 때문에 완전히 분위기가 전환이 되면서 또 승기가 잡았는데 그 당시에 이거 끝나고 나서 이제 이겼다라는 생각하셨나요?
So
둘 다?
did you feel like you were winning the game?
네. 잠시만. 네.
My tooth just fell out.
정말 중요합니다.
Just a moment,
예,
please.
이렇게 됐는데 괜찮으세요?
Are you okay?
이거 이를 악물고 오늘 준비를 해서
I think you were really focusing so hard in games.
말씀하시 괜찮으시면?
질문 다시 주시겠어요?
네네.
So what was the question again?
네, 용싸움 이후에 승리를 좀 확신하셨는지.
So did you guys feel like you were gonna win the game after the team fight near Dragon?
다시 얘기해 주세요.
네. 불용 한타 뒤에 이제 이겼다라는
After the
생각을
Infernal
하셨는지.
Drake team fight, did you feel like you were gonna win the game entirely? Yeah, I picked up a lot of kills over there. So yeah, I felt that I could win in the side lane, so we were gonna win the game in the end.
이제 2세트에서는 정말 경기가 약간 빨리 끝난 느낌이 좀 있었거든요.
In game 2, it was a very fast game, right?
갱을 오면서 더블
And you guys picked up double kill in the very early game stage.
제이스 그 자체다라는
And Kwan, your Jace was super strong.
이 장면에서 혹시 킨드레드 위치를 좀 예상을 하셨었나요?
Did you know where Kindred
어느
is?
정도 이제 카르마가 좀 앞무빙을 많이 치길래
Yeah, Karma was playing a little bit aggressively, so I knew that jungler was waiting for a backup.
이제 커즈 선수하고 입 맞춰서
So I told Coach to come cover me up.
어마어마하게 잘해주신 것 같아요.
네, 한해 제이스는 뭐 원래 정평 나이스.
Kwan, your Jace is really famous, right? And you have the record of 20 wins and 1 losses.
오늘까지 이제 12연승이라고 합니다.
And your Jace is on a 12 winning streak.
그래서 문도라든지 좀 탱커의
Well, recently you have been playing a lot of tank champions in top lane.
그 탱커의 역할을 하는 그 챔프를 뽑으면서도 엄청난 딜량을
But even though when you were playing tank champions, you did a lot of damage. But today you played Jace. So what was the reason for that?
그 상황에 맞춰서 가장 좋은 카드를 뽑다 보니까
Well, I always come up with the best champion for the team comp.
이런 상황이 계속 나온다면은 언제든지 딜러를 쓸 수 있을 것 같아요.
So when it's available, I will play some carry roles, and when it's not, I'm gonna play tank champs. It just all depends on the team comp.
괜찮으신가요? 네.
Today there was some condition issue in MVP, right?
그때 이제 BDD 선수에게 한번 물어볼게요.
So question for you, BDD.
그래서 두 세트 내내 사실 이제 루시안이랑 하이머딩거를 배내주는 모습을
You guys banned away Lucian and Heimerdinger in top lane, so it was said
원딜이었다고
Maha
올려주잖아요.
specific
그걸 좀
ban.
견제하는
You know,
픽이었어요.
he's an AD carry player.
이런 상황이 발생할 줄 몰라서
Well, this was a very unexpected situation.
급박하게 바꿨던 것 같아요.
So yeah, we had to adjust the
그래서 했던 것 같아요.
draft overall, and I saw that he played it a lot during the solo queue. So yeah, we ended up in conclusion that we have to ban out Lucian and Heimerdinger.
상황들이 계속해서 발생을 했기 때문에
So Khan is having another condition issue, so we have to kind of end the interview soon.
그래서 질문 있으신가요?
네.
So is there any last message or question for BDD?
좀 선물을 저희가
그렇죠.
준비를 했습니다. 네.
네네.
선물을 먼저 드리고
Well, we actually prepared some presents for Kingzone.
여기 있잖아요. 그래서
Well, as always, Spo TV, we prepare some special presents for all the Kingzone members.
저희가 또 준비를 해봤습니다. 자,
자, 하나하나 저희가 설명을 드리면 이제 칸 선수가 쌈보만 있으면
first one, this one is for Khan.
쌈보만 있으면 그 밥을 먹는다고
Well,
하시더라고요.
he said in the previous
그래서
interview
쌈보
that
준비를 했고,
all he needs is sliced radish as a side dish for a bowl of rice. So we bought him a sliced radish,
네,
and
여름이라 안 판대요.
this is the peanut
그래서
for
저희가
peanut,
딱지장을
obviously. And this is BDD's favorite side dish, soy sauce crab.
좋아한다고 하셔서 볶음 땅콩 준비를 해봤고 프레이 선수의 마카롱까지 또
And
저희가 준비를
some other desserts for the players,
예, 햄으로
for Gorilla and Prey.
감사합니다.
네, 아무래도 이제 여름이다 보니까 건강 관리도 굉장히 어려우실 것 같고
Taking care of your health will be really hard in the middle of the summer. So I hope you guys can remain in the best conditions with this, with our presence.
정말 강팀들이 또 남아 있습니다. 하필이면
And your
이제
next
남은
opponent will
경기
be Griffin
그리핀과의 경기가
on
남아
Tuesday.
있잖아요. 아무래도 더 신경이 쓰이고 부담이 될 것 같은데
It can be
이
a little bit of a
역할을
pressure for you guys.
앞으로 걱정하지
So any last
마시라고,
message in regarding
우리 팬분들께
to your
각오
next
한 말씀
series?
드리면서 마무리 짓도록 하겠습니다.
저희가 제가 생각하기엔 최근에 또 연습하면서
During the practice game recently,
좋은 느낌 많이 받고
we had really good feelings, and our teamwork is really solid.
그래서 다음 경기 꼭 이기고
So I'm gonna make sure to win our upcoming matches
좋은 성적
and make
내도록
consecutive
노력하겠습니다.
winning streaks. So we're gonna come back with improved performance. Thank you.
자, 칸 선수에게도 다시 한번 큰 박수
So this will be the end of the interview with BDD and Khan from Kingzone DragonX, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
오늘의 경기 결과 다시 한번 확인해 보시죠.
We're back, guys. Thank you, Ji-sun, to help out with the translation. It was a bit of a landslide from 34 minutes to 24 minutes. It was super one-sided to the side of Kingzone. BDD walking back, having trouble holding all the presents that we got for Kingzone. Let's take a look at the standings. Obviously, the win is going to be really great for Kingzone here.
Probably their favorite present is the 2-0 after the losses they had. So they beat MVP, lost 2 matches in a row, they beat MVP. And what does that mean for their next match? Already told us that's against Griffin next week. We have one more match left in this week 5 of our 6-day LCK season. FLICKR versus Gen G. After quite a long break, Valdez, the better part of an hour, we do have a great series of FLICKR and Gen G, both on that competition for top 5. FLICKR coming off a humiliating defeat to BBQ Olivers.
Having a lot of friends on the stream here. Oh, hello. You guys could just join us up on the stage. That might be better. Would definitely look better for the production. But anyway, guys, yeah, that was kind of a sad series, I'd have to say. But as you mentioned, FLICKR versus Gen G is going to be really fantastic. I would recommend you guys stick around. But again, it's 6:52 here, and we're going to start at 7:50. So you guys know what that means. A little bit less than an hour before we do get to that next game, which means that me and Papa going to chill, maybe eat a little bit, talk. I'm not really sure what we're going to do. Maybe we could sneak in a game of LOL, head to the PC bomb before we go to the next game. But it's definitely a long break before we do get to that next one.
Go enjoy some LPL, watch some Netflix, whatever you guys do in your spare time. And please come join us, what should be an excellent second series, like you say, Valdez. Better part of an hour from now, so plenty of time to live your life. But the League of Legends life, it resumes in an hour.
Yeah, so FLICKR versus Gen G. Any thoughts on that series, Papa? Who do you think has the favor in that one?
I need to see FLICKR game 1. I need to see how FLICKR bounce back from, again, a loss against BBQ that none of us could have seen coming. We were screaming at the better part of midnight a couple of days ago about BBQ Olivers beating FLICKR Freaks in the final game. I think FLICKR Freaks going to be annoyed, Valdez, and I want to see if they take that out on Gen G with aggression because, you know, we've seen Gen G recently. They like to play it real slow, farm everything. Ambition usually is going to be the starter, and he's going to be just rolling through. Can they actually show some aggression to take them out?
It's going to be a fun one, guys, but we'll see you in about 55 minutes for that next series. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I see you always wanna go somewhere to waste your golden soul. I see the smile you never show.
It's been many days, many ways misled, knowing that I'm tiptoeing on both sides of the fence, trying to figure it out, but I'm living in doubt. So scared one day that your grace might run out, cause I'm so far from perfect, so close to worthless, feeling no good for worship, trying to understand this life that you purchased. Am I just a man destined for death, or do I deserve it? You died for my sins and that's the verdict. You carried out God's true will and purpose with urgency for the sake of love, forgiveness and eternity. Your grace is enough. I got so many questions, so many things to change. I'm calling out, but sometimes you're far away. I get discouraged and seem to always fall flat, but that's when you pick me up and bring me back.